very much, Mr. Speaker. My name is Nasir Ahmed. I represent Nasarawa Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker, and I'm from Kano State. Mr. Speaker, I wish to start by commending Mr. President for presenting the budget on time, as this will enable us to go back to our former cycle of January to December. But, Mr. Speaker, for me, the highlight of the budget was, if you look at the budget estimates for the 2020 appropriation, you will see out of the 8.15 trillion estimated as the total federal government revenue for 2020, the non-oil sector is supposed to contribute almost 5.5 trillion out of that amount. Now, this is almost 60% of the total estimates for the 2020 appropriation. Mr. Speaker, if you look at 20 years ago, the non-oil sector contributed probably less than 10% of the federal government's revenue. But today, we are seeing a situation where almost 60% of the budget estimates for 2020 is supposed to come from the non-oil sector. That is indeed very commendable, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as you know, the 2020 budget, as presented by Mr. President, is tagged or named the budget of sustaining growth and job creation. Mr. President mentioned four to five goals that he intends to achieve. I will quickly just page 5. Yeah. Yes, and as Mr. President said, this budget is it is designed to be a budget of fiscal consolidation, to strengthen our microeconomic environment, investing in critical infrastructure, incentivizing the private sector, and enhancing our social investment programs. Mr. Speaker, I'm particularly worried about one sector, because I know if that particular sector is fixed, then all these goals that Mr. President mentioned are achievable, and that sector is the power sector. That sector is the power sector, Mr. President, Mr. Speaker. Now, the power sector, if fixed, will make every other sector in the country work immediately. The issue of unemployment, because if you look at, Mr. Speaker, if you look at all the issues that we have from manufacturing to agriculture to mining, unemployment, they all revolve around the power sector. There is no power. Once the power sector is fixed, then we do not have, I can assure you, Mr. Speaker, the issue of unemployment will be drastically reduced, Mr. Speaker. Imagine if there is power, 24 hours uninterrupted power supply in every single state, in every single local government, in every single ward. Then, Mr. Speaker, people do not have to migrate from the rural areas to come to the cities to look for jobs. If you look at countries like China and Vietnam, every single, in their homes, what we call maids' quarters or boys' quarters, they've all been transformed into mini factories, mini industries. Now you can imagine if we have 24-hour uninterrupted power supply, every single boys' quarter that we have in Nigeria will probably be a mini factory. They will be producing one thing or the other. Our manufacturing sector will jump up. Our agricultural sector will be boosted. Our mining sector will also be boosted. So I believe the power sector is a critical sector. And the budget for the power sector is 127 billion for the 2020 appropriation. I believe it is not enough, Mr. Speaker.